Hello, my name is John Granberry, and this is my community video of Riley, Kansas. Customs and traditions. We're predominantly a rural agricultural area. A lot of the festivals that we have here in Riley are the Riley Fall Festival. We also have little communities nearby, Leonardville, Keats, and Randolph. The Leonardville Hullabaloo. A lot of people go and participate in the Fort Riley Apple Days. We have the Magic of Christmas, PTO Carnival and Silent Auction. The Randolph Independence Day celebration is quite a spectacular event. And the Riley Summer Nights gets kids out during the summer. We're largely a Christian area. The local Tea Party has a considerable following and a large pull on the community. It's one of the biggest factors that as we move through this presentation, you'll see how much it affects the community. We had a bond initiative that failed 2 years ago, and kind of fallout that happened after that. The superintendent resigned 2 years later, and the following fall, right before school started, they let the principal of the high school go. So a lot of bad blood between that local Tea Party group and the rest of the community. Demographics, we have a small population here in Riley. We only have 970, predominantly white. You can see that the other races make up very small numbers. We only cover a half square mile, so we're a small town, mostly German. Most people have high school diploma. Quite a few less have bachelor's degree, and even less with master's or graduate degrees. We are quite a young community here. Actually, the average median is 32 years, which compared to the state of 36 makes us quite a young community. More males than females. I would say that by and large there is a large construction in the area, followed by public administration and teaching. But overall, in the rural area, we probably have more farmers, and I don't know if that gets lumped into the construction or not. We have a pretty stable population. We've actually increased in numbers because we're really a pocket community of Manhattan, Kansas, which has kind of expanded beyond its borders. For our communication here, we have 2 internet providers in the rural area, Eagle Communications and Twin Valley. There's a lot of radio stations nearby, the TV, and we have several broadcasters nearby in Manhattan, Junction City, and Topeka would be the closest broadcast stations we have for over-air HDTV. We have the Manhattan Mercury. We also have the Riley County which are the big papers here that most people subscribe to. We don't have really any foreign language impact. If so, it's negligible. We really don't even have any ESL teachers here to speak of. Most people get their news predominantly through the papers and through the internet, followed by the local TV station that reports out of Topeka. Community groups. We have really active Tea Party, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We have a Builders Club that just spun off of the local Kiwanis, I believe. Leonardville Pride and Riley Pride are kind of the community organizations that run off of kind of the local city group that gets together and puts on all of the festivals. We have 3 local churches in town, and we have 3 rural churches that are nearby. The problem organization is the local Tea Party, and the spinoff group, which is the Now group, which is short for needs over wants. Um, so they are probably the largest negative influence that we have in the area. Um, they always are wanting to downplay anything that the school district wants to do. Um, in our leadership, you can see the local Tea Party, the district school board, and Kiwanis um, are probably the biggest leadership functions that we have. With the local Tea Party, I lump them with the district school board because of the fact that they have such an influence on the school board. They have 3 members of the local Tea Party who were on the board. There were 4 at one time, which they were able to sway a lot of votes, and a lot of policies were driven through that group. Um, so, we also have local pastors, retired teachers, we have NFL players, and local business owners. We have Jordy Nelson and John McGraw, both who played in the NFL, who came from our district. Um, the district leadership is 4/7 has a positive influence. Um, Now there's only 3 members from the local Tea Party chapter who are on the school board. The other are really positive people, who want to do a lot of great things for our district. We have local business owners of Anders Fifley Funeral Home, Howe Landscape, Blueville Nursery, Buyer Stone Company, Burnt Construction, and Ron Disraeli Lumber. The Tea Party is the biggest negative influence on our community. On the economic conditions, our median income is $43,862, which is well below the state of $51,338. Agriculture is the predominant industry. We have 2 local banks in the area. We don't have a lot of income from property taxes or sales taxes. Buyer Stone Quarry is the major industry that's nearby that contributes any sizable amount to that. Employment is stable here, and the land use is predominantly agricultural, and property values have increased, and with state policy changes and tax rate hikes have increased slightly. Can we separate politics from our education? I would say no, not with this current political and financial structure in the state. We get 79% of our budget from state aid. 21% of it is from local sources, and that went down a little bit this year. We decreased our mill levy by 8 mills, so that was pretty big for us. We have a possible bond initiative coming up in the spring. Hopefully that will go through. We have a lot of things that we need to do to our schools, a lot of repairs that need to be made and improvements, safety and security being one of the main ones. The bond initiative was refused by voters 2 years ago, so it'll be interesting to see what happens this coming spring. The social tensions, a huge impact by the Tea Party, the Now group, which is needs over wants. As a new transplant myself, it can be not the most friendly area when you're talking about getting in and meeting locals. We're pretty set in our ways here, and it can be hard, especially with the amount of Tea Party group. It's an older section of the community, and they do have a lot of influence. A lot of families are involved. A lot of misunderstanding, political affiliations, and religious differences play into that. Extra sources of information, you can go to the school records to a small degree. FERPA is going to allow you only certain access Twin Valley is a local internet provider, and they have a nice program where they run, like a lot of small towns, they run the local educational channel on the TV, which you know shows news that's going on in the small school districts around. Each district has its own channel. We have our city directory for the city of Riley. You can get more information from citydata.com, the Census Bureau, and the Chamber of Commerce. And if you want, you can look at our school board minutes at the following link there. The power structures are definitely the Board of Education and the Tea Party, the Now group. Underneath that, then you have the superintendent at USG 378, then the principals and assistant principals, the teachers, the PTO and site councils, and then kind of the business leaders fall down there at the bottom. It would be good if we could get those business leaders to take more of an interest and get them to move up on that power structure to be more involved with the board, and kind of push the Tea Party out would be helpful, but I think that's kind of where we're at this current time. So multiculturally, we have very little diversity. We do have some foreign exchange students who come to our district, but overall, you have we have some small celebrations in our school. We don't celebrate as many holidays as I would like, and the church is in the area aren't as involved as I think that they probably could be. One of the biggest things that we do is we have our annual World's Fair that the middle school puts on, which is really well received. We need to get a lot more community participation. Looking at the school dress code, it's not followed and it's not pushed by the teachers and the administration, but it is something that we do have. We have a strong Republican base. It's probably far right side with the Tea Party, and they have a very strong pull, and which we have very poorly implemented mission and vision, which leads to the problem that we have there with where are we going, and looking at the bond issue and the bond initiative coming up. We need to get a very positive vision, which is notated in the ISLLC standard 1. Having a mission and vision is one of the things that you need to have to help move your school forward, or else you're just spinning your wheels. We really don't have any school community relation program that's visible. You have notes that are sent home to parents, but nothing comprehensive. Looking at the measuring the public opinion, we don't have any way that we've taken, as far as I can tell, of taking a public poll of community interest. We need to do a public poll of community members to better understand what the community's needs are. And the view of our administration is that, from at least the administrator's point of view, is that we have a good rapport within the community and within the teachers as a whole with the community. But that's something that we can always work upon building. Ways that we can get around this: we could do surveys with SurveyMonkey. There's things you can do with Google Forms. I think the biggest thing we could do is be more personal interviews and some questionnaires, and we can use Facebook and Twitter for a lot more.